how to read and strum rhythm, along with basic ukulele strumming patterns, and tips. So what is rhythm? Rhythm is the placement of sounds in time. So in ukulele words, it's the instruction for when a note or chord needs to be strummed. Rhythm notation. Rhythm notation is a major part of music notation, and its purpose is to accurately describe rhythms. In this video, we're mainly going to talk about symbols that describe how chord and strumming patterns need to be played. Beat. The beat or pulse is the basic unit of time. It's similar to a steady click, like the one from a clock. And it's the same as clapping to a song or tapping your foot. Tempo. In music, the speed of a piece is called the tempo. A slow beat or a slow tempo corresponds to a slow rhythm. And respectively, a fast beat or fast tempo corresponds to a fast rhythm. Tempo is usually indicated with a number in the beginning of the score, which is referred to as BPM or beats per minute. Note and chord duration. Notes and strums last for a specific amount of beats depending on the shape of the note. Whole or semi-breve notes. These are notes that sustain over 4 beats of music. In the following example, the C chord needs to be strummed 4 times, and each time it has to ring out for 4 beats. Tip number 1. We're going to use the C chord for all of the examples in this video, as it's not difficult and it will help you concentrate on the rhythms. The C chord is played by pressing the 3rd fret on the A string. If you're not sure how to play chords, check out our How to Play Chords video, or just play with open strings. So, strum on the first beat and hold the chord down for 4 beats. Then strum again on the next first beat and continue similarly. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tip number 2. A whole note strum means that the chord has to ring out for 4 beats. Therefore, make sure you don't move your fingers or mute the strings before these 4 beats have passed. Half or minim notes. These are notes that sustain over 2 beats of music. In the following example, the C chord needs to be strummed 8 times, and each time it has to ring out for 2 beats. So, strum on the first beat and hold the chord down for 2 beats. Then strum again on the 3rd beat and hold for another 2 beats. Repeat this 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tip number 3. Before every example, we're going to count to 4, unless we say otherwise. We'll talk about this later in the video. Quarter or crotchet notes. These are notes that sustain over 1 beat of music only. In the following example, the C chord needs to be strummed 16 times, and each time it has to ring out for 1 beat. So, strumming on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tip number 4. There are many strumming techniques, such as using your thumb only, using your index finger only, using your index finger or another finger for the downstrokes, and the thumb for the upstrokes. Or using a pick. video, just use the one that you feel the most comfortable with. Here are 2 examples that combine all 3 note durations we've discussed so far.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tip number 5. Use a metronome. In order to practice the durations by yourself, you can use a metronome. A metronome is a device that produces audible beats or clicks that can be adjusted by speed or tempo. And if it's electronic, it could be by time signature, sound, or other variants. Start with a speed of 60 BPM and adjust it if needed so you don't have to rush. Another way to keep a steady beat is to tap your foot while playing. However, this can be tricky. Here's the second example.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tip number 6. Use the second example to play Trouble by Never Shout Never. All strumming patterns and chord changes for the songs mentioned in this video can be found in the video How to Play 15 Popular Ukulele Songs, Chords and Strumming Patterns with Tab. Also, it helps to download the scores for this video from our website so you have a clear copy in front of you. Rests. Rests work in the same way as the note durations previously discussed. However, a rest is performed by stopping any sound coming from the instrument for the relevant amount of beats. Tip number 7. In order to stop the sound coming from your instrument, you might need to use one of your hands to mute the strings and stop them ringing. This is a whole or semi-breve note rest, and it lasts for 4 beats. This is a half or minim note rest, and it lasts for 2 beats. And when the rest lasts for 1 beat, it looks like this. An eighth or quaver note rest lasts for half a beat, and it looks like this. The smallest note rest we'll do is the Semi-Quaver or 16th note rest. The 16th or Semi-Quaver rest only lasts for a quarter of a beat. We'll get round to explaining those last 2 very shortly. Meanwhile, here's a simple reggae rhythm to practice. On beats 1 and 3, there's a quarter rest, which means that we're going to stop the notes from ringing for 1 beat each time. On beats 2 and 4, there's a quarter note. This means that we're going to strum the chord for 1 beat each time.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tip number 8. Use this rhythm to play Bob Marley songs, like One Love. You can also introduce upstrokes in order to accent this offbeat rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tip number 9. Upstrokes can be indicated with a U, up, an upward arrow, or with the symbol that looks like V. Downstrokes are indicated with D, down, a downward arrow, or with the symbol that looks like pi. Eighth or quaver notes. These are the notes that sustain over half a beat of music. In the following example, the C chord needs to be strummed 32 times. And each time it has to be strummed twice in 1 beat. In order to count between beats, we need to introduce the word and. So, count and strum on every beat, and on every and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 2 new examples to help you with the note durations so far.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now, let's try a fun pop rhythm that is only using one one-beat note and 6 half-beat notes. Try to play the half-beat notes by alternating from downstroke to upstroke to help you with speed.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and...
Tip number 10. Use this rhythm to play Hey Soul Sister by Train. Let's move to a different reggae rhythm, based on the one we previously played. This one consists of one one-beat rest followed by 2 half-beat strums, and it sounds like this. Play the first strum with a downstroke and the second strum with an upstroke.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 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 4 and...
Tip number 11. Use this rhythm to play Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. And this is a fast one. It's made of half-beat rests followed by half-beat strums. Does it remind you of the first reggae rhythm we played, but faster?
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
Tip number 12. This is a ska rhythm. And an example of a ska rhythm would be in Message to You, Rudy by The Specials. This is the last strumming pattern for this section, which involves rhythm changes, so please be careful as only the first 2 bars are the same. And it sounds like this.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4.
Tip number 13. This rhythm helps to play This Is Home by Cavetown. 16th or semi-quaver notes. 16th notes split the space of a quarter or a crotchet note into 4 exact sections. These notes can be counted as 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. And when read in time, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. We need to add extra sounds in between our 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we already have the word and in between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but we're twice as fast now, making it 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a.
1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a.
We'll get to some 16th examples real soon, but for now, here is an overview of the note durations so far, including some that we've already mentioned and some more rare ones. Next up is an example with every note duration that we've come across so far.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1,
4.
And here's a strumming pattern with sixteenths to practice.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a.
Tip number 14. Use this rhythm to play Israel Kamakiole's version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. More advanced rhythm notation. Dotted notes. A dot next to the note is an instruction to add half of the note's value onto the note. These symbols can get a little tricky. In the case of the dotted half note, the dotted symbol would call for there to be a quarter note to be added to the half note. As we know, a half note is 2 beats, so the dot would be just 1 extra beat afterwards. A dotted quarter note calls for an 8th note to be added. As we know, a quarter note is 1 beat, so the dot would be half of a beat, making 1.5 beats in total. The following strumming pattern starts with a 1 beat note, followed by a dotted 1 beat note. This note is equal to 1 beat plus half a beat, making 1.5 beats. The bar ends with 3 half beat notes.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and.
Tip number 15. Use this rhythm to play You Are My Sunshine. Ties. A tie symbol connects or ties one note to another. Ties are used to connect notes from one bar to another and to tie notes together within a measure too. Ties are written as bows that are placed above the notes. Tip number 16. Add the duration of the tied notes to find the actual duration for which you have to hold the chord down. In the first example, the quarter note on beat 4 is tied to the quarter note on beat 1 of the next bar. As a result, we're going to play this note for 2 beats, as if it were a half or a minim note.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tip number 17. Bars or measures are the sections between 2 vertical lines, or alternatively, boxes of musical notes we see in music notation. In the second example, the quarter note on the second beat is tied to the quaver note on the next beat. As a result, we're going to hold this note for 1.5 beats.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A very popular ukulele rhythm called island strum can be played by using 2 tied notes per bar. So what we have is a 1 beat, a half beat, a 1 beat with 2 tied half beat notes, and 3 half beat notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and.
Tip number 18. Use this rhythm to play I Don't Know My Name by Grace Vanderwaal. Add a 1 beat note at the end of the bar for the following pattern.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 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 4.
Tip number 19. Use this rhythm to play How I Met Your Mother's version of La Vie en Rose. And here's another example using ties.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, Yes, it's the same rhythm as You Are My Sunshine, but just a different way to write it. Tip number 20. Try this rhythm out to play Riptide by Vance Joy. Here are 3 rhythms that combine dotted notes and ties. This one starts with 1.5 beats, or dotted crotchet, and is followed by a 2.5 beat note, a minim tied to a quaver. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tip number 21. Use this rhythm to play Stand By Me by Ben E. King. The second one is very similar and is based on reggaeton. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tip number 22. Use this rhythm to play Despacito. The third one's a bit more complicated and it has a rock feel. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Triplets. A triplet is a way to play 3 notes within a certain amount of beats. Triplets are usually indicated with a bracket placed under a 3. In the first example, you need to play 3 strums in 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the second example, you need to play 3 strums in the duration of 2 beats. It's quite challenging, so don't be disappointed if you don't get it first time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A rhythm that uses triplets is shuffle. Notice that the second note is closer to the third note, and so on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Tip number 23. Use this rhythm to play I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. Time signatures. Time signatures are instructions that tell us how many and what kind of beats are assigned per bar or measure of music. The top number in the time signature will determine how many beats there are to be played in each bar, while the bottom number represents the value of each beat. The 2 most popular numbers you'll see on the bottom of a time signature is a 4 or an 8. A 4 will represent a quarter note, and 8 will represent an eighth note. Tip number 24. The pre-count changes depending on the beats in the time signature. All of the previous examples were in 4/4, the most basic and widely used time signature in popular music. In 4/4, there are 4 quarter notes assigned per bar. In 3/4, there are 3 quarter notes assigned per bar. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Tip number 25. A ukulele example in 3/4 is the cradle song. In 6/8, there are 6 eighth notes assigned per bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and... Tip number 26. The ukulele example we'll use for 6/8 is Can't Help Falling in Love, but the 21 Pilots version. Though it's not that common, time signatures can change within a piece of music from measure to measure.
Thanks so much for watching, and check out our how-to videos for more instructions and tips.